Hello everyone, good evening once again and welcome to today's webinar hosted by Clean Technology Hub and the Energy Club UI. So today we'll be looking at understanding the renewable energy sector in Nigeria, the current trends and prospects. All right, so I'll give you a rundown of Clean Tech Hub, what we do and what we seek to achieve with this program. So Clean Technology Hub is a pioneering hybrid hub for the research, development, demonstration, and incubation of green ideas. And also a startup incubator for innovations around clean energy and sustainability. And we do this through advancing clean technologies in Africa, promoting gender inclusion in the energy sector, building skills and capacity for people in the energy sector as well, and resolving energy poverty. And what our approach is to achieving this, it is through research, policy and strategy advisory, data and design thinking and analytics, trainings and advocacy, and startup incubation and acceleration. So the Go Webinar series, which we are doing in partnership with the Energy Club UI, seeks to help young people and most especially students understand the green energy sector and help them build capacity to not only learn but equip them to take up opportunities within the sector. And to start this, today's focus is on understanding the renewable energy sector in Nigeria, the trends and the prospects. And we hope that by the end of today's program, you all attendees will have the right knowledge to know how you can fit into the renewable energy sector. So before we go ahead, I would like to invite Chiamaka to. All right, so before we go ahead, kindly rename yourselves. Go to the participants menu and rename. All right, thank you. Welcome, Okoyemi from Lagos. So kindly go to the participants menu and rename yourself. All right, so thank you all, David, Chiamaka, welcome. Kindly rename yourselves in the participants menu. Click on the icon and click on rename.
Good evening, everyone. Hello? Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chiamaka. Can you?
My name is Onwarize Chiamaka. I'm the head of research division, Energy Club. I'm going to be introducing the Energy Club to us all as the president is unavailable at the moment. I hope everybody can hear me though.
Yes, we can.
All right. Welcome everybody to this webinar once again. I am Onwarize Chiamaka. The Energy Club, University of Ibadan, is a student-led organization aimed at building the interest and capacity of students who are passionate about the energy sector, looking to build a career in any area of the sector, and also profess solutions to the several issues plaguing the energy sector. In carrying out this mission, the Energy Club holds webinars and trainings for its members and the general public, helping them stay abreast of happenings in the sector and become thoughtful leaders. The Energy Club is structured in divisions: the legal division, the technology division, and the finance division to enable members understand the various areas of the energy sector and how it relates to their career path. Of course, we are open to collaboration and capacity building opportunities and training for our members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chiamaka. All right, so we move ahead to the next section of this program, and I'll be inviting our facilitator for today. So, Talatu Tafa, who is the Assistant Manager, Energy Access at Clean Technology Hub, has over 5 years of experience in project management, experience as well as in research in the energy sector. She has a background in engineering and she has worked on projects that have promoted energy in Nigeria. As an engineer with extensive working knowledge of the energy system, she has led and coordinated key energy projects for the organization, including strategic support and collaboration with several mini-grid developers across Nigeria. So I'd like to once again welcome Talatu Tafa. So I would like you all to share about 30 minutes for our presentation. If you have any questions, you can note them down, put them in the chat box, and we have 15 minutes for Q&A where we would address your questions. So Ms. Talatu, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wally. Good evening, everyone. My name is Talatu Tarka, and I'm pleased to have all of you here at this webinar from across the country, some people from Washington. Welcome to the webinar. We're pleased to have you, and please feel free to ask any questions you may have while I take you on the journey. So I'll be facilitating on the topic that says understanding the renewable energy sector in Nigeria. Interestingly, the renewable energy sector is quite a very young sector, maybe about 5 years old. In the last 3 years, it has seen great growth and traction, and which is why we're here today talking about it. Thank you, everyone. Just keep engaging on the chat box, and any questions you may have, please let me know also in the chat box. So as we know, today we'll be talking about Africa's energy gap. We'll also be looking at the poverty, the energy poverty here in Nigeria, and I'm sure that is not a new topic to any of us. Then we'll be looking at renewable energy and the energy transition that is currently going on in Nigeria, and we'll also be looking at some trends in in Nigeria's DRE sector, which is the decentralized renewable energy sector. And we'll also be looking at certain prospects and opportunities that people like you and I have in this sector. So Africa's energy gap. Over 621 million people in Africa do not have access to electricity. That doesn't scream energy poverty. I don't know what does. And the 60% of sub-Saharan Africa's energy is consumed by South Africa. So you can see that we kind of consume a lot of energy, but we don't really have enough of it going around. And Nigeria spends a lot of money in exporting petroleum, about $89 billion. And we know that Nigeria as a population, we're the most populous nation in Africa, and we're about almost 200 million people, and 93 million of us do not have access to electricity. So this is a serious issue. A lot of the population still depends on charcoal for cooking, firewood, and other forms of fuelwood. And we all know that this can cause pollution, and it also leads to explosions and the loss of lives of many people all around the world. In Nigeria, I'm sure we've heard of how many people had explosions while cooking with kerosene. And the whole aim is to avoid this, and these are very avoidable situations, and the whole aim is to move towards better practices. So Nigeria's energy poverty is what we're looking at next. This is a story that everyone can tell. I'm sure you know that you don't have as much light and electricity as you need. A lot of times you have to ration it, and these are the struggles that we have. So we have a population, according to the World Bank, of about 190.19 million people. And now the interesting part is that the on-grid sector has an installed capacity of 12,522,000 megawatts, meaning that this is the amount of electricity that we have the ability to produce. We have two major sources for our on-grid electricity, which is supplied by the discos, as we call them, NEPA. That name has seemed to refuse to leave us. So 10,000, a little above 10,000 of that comes from thermal sources, from the gas stations and heat stations. And then we have the hydro dams providing about 2,000 megawatts. But at the end of the day, the amount of power that is generated and sent through our transmission channels to our homes and offices is just about 3,000 megawatts. And this is the big question. We have sat down to debate, how come this is all we get? We've had different explanations, from losses to lack of infrastructure, to I'm giving some people power, some people are not receiving to transmit. So a lot of the complexities on the on-grid sector is what has led us to only about an average of 3,000 megawatts of power generation that we all have to share as a country. As a result, 20 million households are unelectrified. And of our almost 200 million population, about 55% of Nigerians have no access to electricity at all. Like, they don't have any hope of turning on the switch and the lights will come on. And then out of the other 45 or so who have that access, only about 25 of them are connected to the grid and can boast of 4 hours daily. So even those that are so-called enjoying the lights are clearly underserved. And this clearly points to a major issue in terms of our energy poverty. Now, 85% of those that are connected to the grid are in the rural areas. And then the remaining 25% are in the urban areas. So even those in the city, you're still not safe. So in terms of renewable energy, I'm sure we've been hearing about renewable energy. It's becoming a buzzword. I mean, what is this renewable energy about? It's about, sources of energy. I'm sure we know what energy is. So sources of energy that are said to be sustainable, they cannot be depleted. Their sources cannot be exhausted. It's what we refer to as sources of renewable energy. We have the wind, solar, we have nuclear, we have biomass, we have hydro. And this sector, as you may have heard of it, is becoming one of the most interesting industries over the past 10 years actually, due to technological innovations and the need for sustainable energy solutions and climate action. So the thing is, once there's a need, we tend to create a solution. And as I have earlier explained to you, our sources of power in terms of fuelwood, charcoal, they're not sustainable. Even our oil and gas is no longer sustainable. We have heard of how countries like the big boys, the Arab boys that have oil, are now beginning to look into other forms of making money because their oil reserves are limited. And it is because of this reason that we have sought to look for other means of sustainable energy solutions. And we also know that by using all these other fossil fuels and other sources of energy, we are depleting our ozone layer. We are destroying, our sustainability as a country and even as the whole world. So we have to think about climate action, how we can greatly mitigate and slow down the process, even if it still might just happen. But we need to contain the havoc that these other energy sources are causing. And so lately, everybody's looking to renewable energy. It's cleaner, it's more sustainable, the sources are reusable. And that's what makes it a very interesting subject matter today. Countries around the world are supporting green ideas and sustainable solutions. The green employment market is expanding at astronomical rates. Daily, I see people coming into this sector. That's not even a joke, but there's so many opportunities right now in terms of green ideas. Everybody's looking for who has a sustainable idea. I'm sure if you've put your ears to the ground, you hear a lot of people saying, we're looking for solutions to COVID-19. We're looking for solutions to energy problems that are sustainable. It is all because of the concept of renewable energy and the solutions and opportunities that it provides, that this is happening all around the world. And in Nigeria, it is no different. Our country is beginning to understand that this energy matter, maybe we cannot solve it with the grid. We need to look off grid. We need to consider other options. And that is what is happening lately. So lately in Nigeria, you see a shift from the centralized form of energy to a more decentralized way of doing things. Nobody's waiting. You see that he has a few panels on his roof. He's tired of NEPA doing him this and that, or bringing some kind of ridiculous estimated bills. So we see a shift from centralized to decentralized, and we see a rigid grid network to flexible smart grids. This is happening. We find a whole estate saying, see, we don't know if NEPA will bring light or not. We just want to explore other forms of power that are constant, that are reliable. And then we see a diverse energy mix. So like I earlier explained, on the grid, we have mostly thermal and hydro. But now we're seeing solar panels, solar farms, solar mini grids, solar home systems are beginning to rise in different areas. We see smaller forms of wind farms here and there. So we're beginning to see diversity in our energy sources, in our energy mix of the country. And that speaks growth in terms of, that's in the energy sector, of course. And then we see less government control. We also see more private investment. So we see the government saying, okay, where are the mini grid developers? You guys should come to the front. Do you have the ability to power these places? You can come and we're ready to support, So the government is taking that step back. Although, yes, they're saying, okay, they're creating a foundation, but they're taking that step back to say, hey, investors, if you want to invest in this sector, please come. And that is also what is happening in the country lately. We see faster deployment and scalability. Over the past 4 months, we've seen a lot of commissioning of mini grids. There was one in Katsina recently, one in Plateau State. So we just see, as in, things are happening really fast. And this is because Nigeria is transitioning in terms of energy. We see innovative financing models. We see people come together and say, hey, we want to finance, we want to invest in your businesses. So people are beginning to think of how to better finance and invest in energy businesses nowadays. And then we see a bottom to top approach. It's no longer the fact that, okay, we're waiting for the government to send infrastructure to communities. We see communities demanding for electricity. You hear them say, we want lights. We hear them welcome developers to their communities. We even hear them offer land and say, you can use this land to provide your mini grids and stuff like that. So a lot of that is happening, and that speaks of progress, that speaks of change, and it speaks of opportunities that are even yet to come. So going forward, we're seeing an increasing use of increasing energy access through the use of renewables. We have the pay-as-you-go system, so it has different levels. The smaller scales are the pay-as-you-go system, or what we call the solar home system or standalone solar systems. You just have, it's kind of called a plug and play system, where you just connect your appliances to this to this particular box that you see there. A company called Lumos provides this kind of services. We also see off-grid rooftop solar solutions, where people say you can install solar panels on my rooftops. This is becoming increasingly popular. Offices, homes. And this picture here is one that was installed by Blue Camel, which is another off-grid solar company here in Nigeria. We also have the mini grids, which are becoming increasingly popular, powering communities, powering markets. Mini grids are becoming increasingly popular, and one of the leading companies is GVE Nigeria. This shows one of their solar mini grids. This is a dedicated solar plant, so you just install them there and connect them to either the office or the community nearby. And we have small hydro projects. So the big hydro referring to the dams like the Kainji Dam, but we have other small hydro projects. This one has been installed by UNIDO Nigeria. And we have what we call biogas energy solutions. Biogas is another interesting source of energy, still being explored in Nigeria. It's getting also increasingly popular. The use of plant and animal waste to generate a gas that is now used to create energy solution. This one is a biogas plant located in Ajima, here in Nigeria. Of course, all these plants are here in Nigeria. Just to let you know that Nigeria is not joking in this matter. They are taking the front seat in generating electricity from their local resources. And of course, we're all encouraged to do the same. This is also a wind farm located in Rimi in Katsina, here in Nigeria. Yes, so we have, we'll be looking at trends in the Nigerian dairy sector. So like I've been saying over the past few minutes, the Nigerian government has become very interested in the renewable energy sector because, like I also pointed out, they have realized that this the on-grid sector cannot completely provide us with the energy that we need. We are almost 200 million people. 3,000 megawatts cannot sustain us in any manner. And so they are very open, and so should you be, concerning looking for other alternative sources. So we have over the past few years, we have seen increased government commitment. We've seen a lot of policies pop up between 2015 to 2020. We have so many energy policies. I remember recently, part of what we did at Clean Technology Hub was to accumulate these policies and break them down. I believe we'll be sharing that with you as well, just so that it's one of the first things that you should acquaint yourselves with. It will help you to understand the laws that are governing the sector. And because regulations and policies are very bulky, full of legal English and stuff like that, we're able to break them down into simplified forms so that anyone who is just hearing about the concept, wants to know about renewable energy in Nigeria, can just go through the documents and get a snapshot and an overview of what the sector is all about, the provisions that are available, and the laws that are governing this sector. And so part of what the government is doing is, okay, they support the formulation of these policies, because anytime you want to drive an initiative or a program, you drop a policy on how it should be conducted. So we find also lately, especially in this COVID-19 time, we saw a lot of testing stations and isolation centers being powered by renewable energy. And one of the interesting things that the COVID-19 pandemic did for the renewable energy sector was to expose, those areas that energy is lacking. So we find people going to the isolation centers and there's no light to power. They cannot be sustained by the oxygen machines. It was a chaos. And then the government said, hey, why don't we electrify these isolation centers with renewable energy? And we had companies, investment companies like Olon and other people come together to say, let's power the isolation centers. The REA also, through their own NEP components, which is a project that the REA, called the Rural Electrification Agency here in Nigeria, is running. There was an increased need to power those stations, and the fastest way they could do that was with renewable energy. So there was a lot of opportunities for renewable energy, especially in this time of COVID-19. And we could see that a lot of attention, went towards that area. I noticed a lot of homes, people were looking for how to buy solar panels. I want to power my house. I'm at home working 2/7. I need constant electricity. I don't trust NEPA. I don't trust the light from AEDC or the light from Ikeja Disco. I just want I want to have constant light. I can't afford to be looking for fuel up and down. What is the solution? You get your house audited and quickly put your panels that can provide you with 2/7 reliable light. So part of the trends that we saw in Nigeria recently, we have that the REU has been embedded in the Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan. The Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan was recently launched by the presidency through the Office of the Vice President. And among other components of that plan, we saw what we call the 5 million new solar connections plan come out of that, which is being implemented currently by the REA. So that particular plan, which is of great interest to us, is also called the Solar Power Niger Project, is to see that there are 5 million new solar connections in this country within from now and the next at least 3 years. And that is very, very innovative. I think this is one of the greatest innovations that the government has ever done. We want to commend, of course, the president and the Office of the Vice President, because that would see to solving a lot of the power problems that the Nigerian population are currently facing. And so that was just recently launched last month. So it's yet to unfold, but we're already hearing about progress in the application process, and they're dedicating about 140 million naira to that particular initiative. So kudos to them, and kudos to the energy sector as well. Now I've mentioned the REA. So the REA is a Rural Education Agency. It is a government agency that is saddled with the responsibility of increasing energy access, especially in the rural communities that do not have any form of light. And the REA has been working over the years very hard towards doing this. They have so many programs, including the Energizing Education Program. They have the Energizing, what did they call that? Energizing Economic Initiatives, which is the part of their program that powers markets and economic clusters. So you see a lot of initiative by just the government first on how to increase, renewable energy mix in our energy mixes, and then take electricity to those areas that are clearly underserved. And then we also have the REF, which is a fund. We have so many players now. Everybody is now paying attention to the renewable energy sector, and they're looking for how to increase funding. A lot of banks are now looking at, okay, let's start giving them loans. It looks like a lucrative business. And so we see a lot of support from even international bodies like the African Development Bank, the World Bank, the USAID, and so many other organizations. So we're also looking at, and because of this, of course, we've seen a lot of jobs have been coming up within this sector. And like, for example, in the year 2017 and 19, they said that the decentralized renewable energy sector accounted for 4,000 jobs. So as you can see, there are lots of opportunities in this sector. And there's also a growing environment for entrepreneurs. So if maybe you're not into the formal sector, you can also become an energy entrepreneur, which is becoming increasingly popular. People are beginning to sell these products because, of course, people are buying. So it's becoming a very lucrative business to get into. So people are selling this, providing pay-as-you-go models. We find new innovations. As an innovation hub, we come across a lot of new ideas. People are willing to bring up energy solutions and are willing to run it into the main market, and they have a lot of opportunities in that. Like I also explained, that there's been an increase in the amount of mini grids that are popping up within the country. In the rural areas, we see states like Niger State, Plateau State, we see Ondo State, so many states across the country are being empowered by mini grids, many communities, many commercial communities, and we're even beginning to see markets like the current work going on with GVE and the partnership between GVE and the DISCO in Abuja on the Wuse market interconnected mini grid. So, and then there's an entire, and because of the kind of structure that is happening, an entire value chain that is coming up with different areas of specialization. We have marketing, we have customer relations, we have operations, we have monitoring. There's so many aspects that one can venture to in this sector. I hope we're all listening. Please don't forget, if you have any questions, kindly drop them in the chat box and we will attend to them after the presentation. I hope we're following. If we're following, kindly just comment and say, yes, I'm following, I understand, or just give us some kind of affirmation. Thank you very much. As I conclude on this presentation, we'll be looking at some of the prospects and opportunities that are in the renewable energy sector. So Nigeria has a national vision for energy in this country. If you don't remember anything from this particular session, remember the energy target vision, which is 30-30-30. Vision 30-30-30. And that simply is saying that by the year 2030, Nigeria would have produced at least 30 megawatts of power, 30,000 megawatts, which is about 30 gigawatts of power. And 30% of that power should be sourced from renewable energy sources. So in order to achieve, as you can see, this is not a small feat. If you remember at the beginning of the presentation, we mentioned that we're currently at about 3,000 to 4,000 megawatts generation at this level. So we have quite a long way to go, and we have about 10 years to do that. So this also creates, it seems like a big problem, but it actually creates a big opportunity for people like you and I, because we have a target, we have to all work together to meet it. So there are a lot. So this is what we call the prospects. Because we have a market, we have a target we need to meet. We have to work towards that. And the renewable energy market is estimated to be about $3 trillion in Nigeria. Yes, I know it sounds like a lot, but that is the estimation in terms of, just so you get your heads around the opportunities that are available. So the development of off-grid alternatives, such as the mini-grid and the solar home systems that I described, which are different scales of the off-grid solutions to complement the grid, will create a $9.2 billion per year market opportunity for the country. So we can see another opportunity here. And then we can see a lot of employment opportunities for the youth and women, both in the technical and non-technical fields. So I understand that it's renewable energy, and it seems like, oh, it's only for the technical, for the engineers and the and coal, but that is not the case. Renewable energy sector creates a lot of jobs, and like the slide has said, over 52,000 jobs will be made available in Nigeria by 2023. So, and it's not just technical. It's not just about those that are installing solar panels or fixing them, or no. We have those in finance. We have the legal parts. I told you that we recently had our renewable energy policies that were just released. So we have people who had to sit down to draft that. Our CEO is a legal practitioner. So as you see, the opportunities for both the technical and non-technical parts of jobs are available in this market. Sorry, excuse me. So we see the opportunities are endless, actually. And then so we have that currently standalone and grid-tied commercial and industrial companies are the job engine of the sector. A lot of people are into the business of the renewable energy sector. They are not installing any mini grids. They don't have engineering knowledge. They are not mechanical or electrical engineers that know how to connect the PVs to the inverters, or no, that's not what they're doing. They're selling solar panels, and people are buying and they're making profits out of it. There are some people that are not even doing any of that. Some are just saying that they want to just manufacture these things. We have a company like that recently got funding because of the opportunity that we saw in that. They got a funding, that's Oxano Solar got a funding of about $1.5 billion to set up their factory just to produce this particular component. You don't have to be an engineer to do that. Just be business savvy, get the financing you need, and you're able to implement something like that. So we see mini grid companies, and they'll be accounting for about 96% of jobs. A mini grid company is a warehouse of different departments. They have those that are installing, they have those that are managing the customers, they have those that are working with the mobile marketers. There are those that are responsible for money collection. So as you can see, this is not just a technical sector. Another interesting thing about the renewable energy sector is the opportunities that it has for women. There are so many, you can even say that some other sectors frown at women, but the renewable energy sector is very women friendly. We find our policies insisting that no, we have to have women on the board, women on certain projects. So you can see that it's very open. It's a very open market, and anyone who has the interest or the desire, if you have a desire to build something build something that will last, such as the renewable energy, you can always venture into the sector. Nothing, as in there's no, I did not read engineering, I'm not a science student. There's a place for that, and with interest, you can learn on the job if that's what you want to do. So we see technical jobs in the renewable sector, like installation. We have maintenance and operations, those that make sure that if the system goes down, they're able to revive them. And like I mentioned, there are manufacturers and assemblers also in the sector. We have those that design the PV systems. Those are the technical ones, the energy efficiency specialists that will calculate how much, they will first of all audit and say how much energy is wasting, let's conserve energy. These are the technical jobs that are within the sector. The next slide, please. There we look at the non-technical jobs. Here we see management and administration. We see research and development. In fact, research and development is one of the most interesting areas because it has been said that by the year 2022 and to 2023, research and development will be the most sought after non-technical job in the sector, especially as more mini grids are coming up, more energy solutions are coming up. We hear about hydrogen, how it's becoming more sustainable. People want to explore. What we hear about different things, using flags to generate electricity. We hear about just by driving your car down the road, you can generate electricity. And so the future belongs to R&D, to be honest, especially in this sector. We look at project development. Every day, projects are coming up. So, and this is one of my areas of expertise. I love to work on projects. I love to do things. I love to see them work. And we have after sales services. Some people need help on how to walk through this. Okay, are you okay? Do you think that you need to increase your capacity? These are non-technical skills. We have legal services. I explained to you that every day we need to either review policies, we need to update them, we need to include some people that need to be protected, the communities. So there's a place for legal services. And we also have financial services. It is a business. So there's a need to pay money. There needs to be a collection point. And so all these areas, there's none that is less important. They are all equally important. So that is what we see today. And we say currently management and business administration and after sales services are the most popular non-technical jobs. It's very popular because everybody has to manage. It's a business. So business administration is very, very key to this sector. I hope you are beginning to see that this is not just a technical sector. It's one of the things I like to advocate about because it's not just a technical sector. Yes, I am an engineer, and it sounds like what I'm saying is unfair, but I came into the sector basically on the grounds of research. I love to research, and that was my entry point into the power sector. I'll probably save that story. If I had more time, I could tell you that. But let's just focus on the presentation for now. And we also have the entrepreneurship opportunity. So like I said, apart from the formal, there's an office, there's a company, we have those that are entrepreneurs in this sector. And what do? They retail these renewable energy products. They buy from those who manufacture and they sell. And a lot of people are buying them. I know I have a solar panel, a solar powered rechargeable kind of light. It's chargeable, but it's recharged by solar lights. It's not when you plug it. So that even if I don't have lights, I know that yes, the sun is going to charge it. So these things are, people are selling, people are distributing, people are retailing. We have people who are leasing and renting these products. And nowadays, you see that renewable energy the use has increased. We find them being used for productive uses, which is another interesting part. Maybe we'll talk about this in another episode of this series, because it's really broad. But at least as an introductory level, we see a lot of people use renewable energy to work on their farms. We see them use it to dry their corn and different things. We also see them use it to mill stuff, so that at least they don't lose their farm produce. So there's really no limit to this thing. As long as you can just conceive it, it's really doable in the renewable energy sector. And we see the installation and operation and maintenance of renewable energy projects. There are some people, like how your phone gets off and you take it to fix, maybe your SIM source is bad. The same way we have people who work on those this panel is bad, it needs replacing, and they fix it. Several times systems get shut down, maybe because of normal system failures, and there are people who are always on ground to fix it. So these are the various ways that people work in this sector and get things done. So what I really want to talk about the positioning. As I bring this to a close, I just want to talk about the positioning and penetrating into the RE sector. Now, this is important because this is like saying, what is your entry point into the renewable energy sector? I like this sector. I like what I'm hearing. How do I get into it? I mean, really, I don't think I know anything about it. And that's the interesting part about the renewable energy sector. A lot of research, yes, you can research, you can learn about trends, you can learn about, you don't have to even know everything at once. I mean, if your interest is in maybe something like hydrogen, how can hydrogen gas be used to power as a renewable energy source? So you think about that and you research on that and you find how it works. It's a system, there's how it works and all of that. And then you can also build skills, technical and non-technical skills in the sector. Then you can also be proactive. You have to think. It's a sector whereby you have to think fast. You have to network. A lot of people have resources that you don't have, know things that you don't know. And there are also a lot of opportunities in this sector that you can easily pursue. So many opportunities. There's either a challenge, an energy innovation challenge, or there's an idea to submit an idea or a proposal for something. There are so many opportunities that one can take advantage of. And another key thing about the sector is that you have to be innovative. You have to think, you have to execute things, you have to think of how to solve problems. If you have these skills, I think you're good, really. I think you can really position yourself and sit comfortably in the renewable energy sector and do very well, as if I may add. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you've learned a lot from all our conversations. Thank you so much. I'm handing over back to Wale.
Hello, thank you so much, Mr. for that wonderful presentation. So it's time for questions, and we received quite a lot. So I think we'll just see how far we can go with taking the questions. If you have more questions, kindly send them in. If we can't address them now, maybe we can do that via email later on. All right, so we have a question from David, who asked about the energy capital market is strongly founded on petroleum. So what's your choice of policy that you think can encourage investors into the area of renewable energy? So would you like to answer that first, Mr.
Yes, can you kindly repeat that, Mr. Wale?
Okay, the energy capital market is strongly founded on petroleum. What's your choice policy to encourage investors in this area? So I guess the area is renewable energy.
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Mr. David. So like you said, the energy sector, I'm sure you're referring to the on-grid sector. The renewable energy sector is kind of arranged quite differently. And because, like I said, it is becoming increasingly popular, a lot of investment is coming into the sector. And initially, there are policies, of course. We have a lot of policies, right, that drive in investment into the sector. And Basically, setting up organizations like the Rural Education Agency and the Rural Electrification Fund are avenues that are used to bring in investment into the sector. The fund, especially, was created to receive any kind of funding, maybe from international donors, into that particular sector. And we have a lot of private investment also going on because they see the business opportunity that the renewable energy sector provides. We find a lot of investment coming from banks. We see Sterling Bank in Nigeria as one of the chief commercial banks, and also the FCMB Bank. We see funding coming from those states in terms of loans and grants. We see other private investors coming in also from. We see a firm called Olon, which is mostly focused on investing into the off-grid sector. So the financing for off-grid sector is not dependent on oil and gas, so to speak, or like the on-grid sector. It has a different form of investment sources, and they come as investment for viable businesses too. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So the next question is, we are dependent on fossils, on oil, petroleum. What do you consider will be the future of renewables in Nigeria, coupled with the activeness of our decision makers to the vast amount of oil that we have?
Thank you very much for that question. Yes, Nigeria is very oil dependent. It's not news. But the interesting part about it is, like I said, we're beginning to understand that oil is a reserve that can be exhausted. And which is why our government is trying to explore other forms of powering our economy. And which is another reason why they decided that, okay, you know what, let's look for other sustainable. And that is why the mini-grid, the Solar Power Nigeria program is situated under the sustainability plan of the government. We see our government people, like, they are now paying attention to this sector because it is more sustainable. You cannot exhaust the light from the sun. And Nigeria has a huge resource in terms of solar radiation. We have one of the highest in Africa, as you know. So this opportunity is what makes me understand and know that the renewable energy sector has a future, a strong one, and it's best for us to just join the bandwagon really on this one, because it's definitely going somewhere.
All right, thank you for that. So we have another question from Ogochuko that reads that, what is the potential of renewable energy for industrialization? What is the potential of renewable energy for industrialization?
Thank you. I take your question to mean that can renewable energy power industries? I believe that's what you're saying. And yes, renewable energy can power anything. It just depends on your capacity and knowing how much of that energy you need. It's the same way the on-grid electricity powers industries. So it is not like at the rate at which the ones for the household use are being adopted right now. Yes, the industrial one the industries can also be powered by renewable energy, but this is taking quite some time to catch on. But yes, it is happening and it will happen. We have industries that are powered already by renewable energy. There's one in Kaduna, and they're definitely increasing in number. So yes, it has the ability to power even industry, and it's quite much more sustainable and healthier, if I may add.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, thank you so much. Another question from David reads that renewable energy is effective but expensive. How will this be possible with the already aging energy poverty in Nigeria?
Thank you very much for that question. And I always address it in this way. Consider paying for renewable energy. Consider it like a down payment for a lifelong sustainability plan. Now, it is expensive. I remember when telecom company first came into Nigeria. I don't know if you are among the people or you are aware of people who bought their SIM card at 30,000 naira. I mean, right now it's quite ridiculous because SIM card is about 1 naira, basically. But initially, when technology is introduced, it is expensive because of the cost of, making that technology, manufacturing it, distributing it. But once it becomes more acceptable and increasingly popular, like over the past few years, renewable energy has the cost of components, for example, for solar panels and solar PV components has dropped drastically dropped by about 60%. And why? This is because it is becoming increasingly popular. So yes, it might be expensive at first, but when you install a system that works for over 20 to 25 years without needing replacement, you would understand that you will now begin to see the cost benefits of paying, why you might have to pay upfront for it at first, and then you don't have to pay to sustain it for that long. Instead of your normal payments of, okay, I'm paying 10,000 every month. Once you pay it upfront, you see that it works for a long period of time without any interruption or needing any human intervention from you. Thank you.
Thank you. So another question along that line, which will be the final one because of our time, we are all running out of time, is that how do we break it down to people to make them, how do we break it down and easier for people who still turn away from renewable energy due to the high cost of solar panels?
Yes. Thank you for that, which is kind of just like what I said. Sometimes you pay upfront. That's the way the panels work. So they're not really cheap initially, but like I said, once you have it installed, panels have the ability to work, yes, without losing any form of value or anything. It can work for up to 20 years. Your panels don't need to be replaced for that long. And when you begin to think like that, I'm sure there are many things that you would buy because you know, yes, this thing has a lot of value. And when you do that, you don't have to, you're not paying monthly or weekly for electricity anymore. You've acquired your panels, the technology stays with you and can work for you for as long as it needs to. So if you begin to look at it like that, and like I said, because of the initial cost, because of the cost of manufacture, these panels were not cheap. So when they first got into the market, the cost of panels today are not even compared with the cost many years ago. And so the price keeps coming down. And I can show you that the price will still come down lower. The more people are beginning to accept and make use of this technology, you find that the prices will drop. This is an economics thing. This is not an energy matter. This is how business works. The more you use, the more acceptable, the more a technology is adopted, the more the prices would go down. So in the next few years, if you can't maybe get it now, I can assure you that you'll be able to afford a panel. The prices keep coming down. So just remember that the high cost is just at the entry point. With time, you will not even know that. You will forget that you paid a high cost for it. Thank you very much. I still see a lot of questions, but we might not be able to take them now because our time is far spent. Like my colleague Wally said, kindly just post them. We'll try to respond to your questions via email. Wally, is that the plan? Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking our time to be a part of this. This is just the first in a series, and in partnership with the Energy Club, we hope to have more of this. So for the questions that were answered, please look up our email address that would also include the link to the guide so that you can really begin to understand what happens on the policy side as well. So look forward to that from us. So before we go, I would just like if everyone can turn on their camera, let's just get a screenshot of everyone who has been here. So just switch on your camera and just a quick picture before we call it a day. All right. All right, just switch on your cameras and Hello, everyone. It's nice seeing your faces. Someone said we don't have light here, oh. So you see why we need to decentralize and embrace renewable energy. Yes. So thank you for your questions. Just switch on your camera for just a minute. So still waiting for a few more people. Raymond, just switch on your camera, turn it on for short picture. Okay. All right. So, like I said, this is the first, and by next month we'll be having another interesting topic around promoting energy access in Nigeria. So, look forward to seeing that on our the Energy Club social media and other channels, as well as the Clean Tech Hub. So, follow us, check our website, follow our social media to get information about